Ooh, hello, so it's 7:30, we're online. Looks like we got everything up. Okay, so good evening and welcome to the NTX lockdown live stream, sort of Freedive training while you are in lockdown. So a few days ago we started these and we've had some fantastic response, loads of people messaging me. If you message me in the comments when this goes up on YouTube, so tomorrow or late tonight, ask me any questions. You can private message me through Facebook. It's not a problem, and I'll get back to you, and we'll kind of include some of the ideas in the following sessions. So I gave you some homework last night to do, and it was to have a go at the lazy tables again, and along with the bedtime stretches, which we went through yesterday. So hopefully you were doing the bedtime stretches today. But we were, I asked you to do the lazy tables, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going through the theory of the lazy tables, and well, not so much a guided exercise, because it's going to be a bit tough to do guided exercise for the lazy tables. But we're going to do a kind of a version of them, so just so you can kind of have a go at them. So let's have a look at our word board. So you can see we started with meaningful practice or purposeful practice. So if you do 10,000 hours of practice, it's not going to do anything for you unless it's purposeful or meaningful. And from there we started talking about failure, and you're not going to learn anything from training or any exercises if there isn't a chance of failure. Failure is super important. Then we moved on to feedback. So I gave the example last night about golf, that every time if you just hit a ball once, you've got no feedback, you've got no chance of failure. To get that feedback to try again. So feedback is super important. And then moving on from feedback, tonight we're going to have a look at honesty. And honesty is literally the most personal thing. And again, it's one of the 10 key points of training, of coaching. That's my job as a coach, to bring those things to your awareness, these 10 key points. So what do we mean by honesty? Now, I gave the example the other day, a fantastic example of one of the NoTanx exercises, the pyramid breaths, where you swim a length and you come up for a certain number of breaths, let's say 5, and then you swim another length, apnea, come up and you have 4 breaths, and then 3 breaths, and then 2, and then go back up. And you have a buddy there for safety, but as you come up, your buddy says, that's 5 breaths, Marcus. That's 4 breaths, Marcus. And don't forget that includes the candle blows, and I will be putting a thing out about candle blows. I know somebody asked, so I'll put a link in the comments, in the description, when this goes up later, about candle blows. But anyway, back to the point, where you come up and you do 4 breaths. Your buddy's saying 4 breaths. Now, your buddy doesn't really care whether you do 4 breaths or whether you do 5 or 6. But that's where the honesty comes in. You know whether you did 4 breaths. You know whether you did 5 breaths. And you start to play with this ego, that it's really easy to go, yes, I did 4 breaths, I made it in 4 breaths. But that's irrelevant. Your buddy doesn't know, doesn't care. You can say, yeah, I did it in 2 breaths. It doesn't matter. The honesty is you owning up to yourself, saying, well, I meant to do it in 4, but actually I took a sneaky 5th breath, or even a 6th breath. And if we can be honest with ourselves and just say, well, yeah, no, I needed an extra breath, there's no reason why you shouldn't tell everybody else, well, I needed to take an extra breath. Except for ego, except for you overhear somebody saying, well, I did it in 4 breaths. And you can kind of get caught up in that kind of, I want to beat them. Oh, apparently my camera is back to front. Oh, hang on a sec. Let me see if I can. Boing. No, that's upside down. Is that the right way? Can somebody tell me if it is the right way? Well, if my camera's back to front, then when I picked up this bad boy, you wouldn't have been able to see it. It would have been the wrong way around. So let me show that again. So we started with meaningful practice, went up to failure, and we're coming back down to feedback. And then today we're moving across to honesty. Okay, so I've introduced the idea of ego there, and so we really want to keep that ego in check. That doesn't mean to say we can't play games with each other, kind of trying to beat each other, but we've got to be really honest about that ego that we're playing with there. Yeah, I beat him. It doesn't matter whether you beat him. It doesn't matter at all. Unless you're in the World Championships and you're gunning for that number 1 spot, then it maybe it matters. But unless you're doing that, it doesn't matter. And I don't know how many people are watching this, don't know how many people are going to watch this, but I'm kind of guessing that not many of them are going to be in the role for the World Champion, because there's not many people in the world up for World Champion. So the rest of us, it's just about honesty with yourself and trying to not buy into that ego of I'm better than them, I beat them. Okay, and just can't be honest. I did it in 4 breaths. I did it in 5 breaths. Because as soon as you've got that honesty, then you can start looking towards the next challenge. And you failed. You did it in 5 and you meant to do it in 4. But you can next time, you can almost do it. Next time, it might be within reach. If not, the one after that's going to be within reach. And that's where the challenges come. So that's the key point that I wanted to talk to you today about. And we are going to move on to the NoTanx aspect of training, which is the unstressed. So we've got an area of breath hold, and we're going to look at unstressed breath holds. Now, this goes back to the learning theory. This goes back to how we improve, how we get our body to physically improve. Now, a very good friend of mine called Gary Hunter, one of our instructors, used to run the Colchester branch. He said to me, or in fact he was chatting to Adam actually, I overheard him chatting to Adam about how to improve when you want to go running. If you just run round a park every day, you will get okay at running around a park. But there's a certain level you're just going to reach that you're never going to surpass. So what you have to do, you have to break your patterns. Your body, your subconscious gets used to what you're doing. It's a very average. If you keep doing something again and again and again, the body learns that and kind of settles for that. So you've got to break it. You've got to break it up. And Gary said to Adam, if you want to be a better runner, what you've got to do is halfway round your run, climb a tree, chase a dog, do some squat thrusts, do press-ups, anything that your body's not expecting, and you can break it. That's where the improvement is. You ask it to do something it's not expecting, and that's where it starts improving on. And strangely enough, this was actually one of the fundamental ideas behind the whole NoTanx system. So we've been doing this for 20 years now. That when you learn to swim a length, and you can swim a length quite comfortably, then we get you to play torpedo, swimming a length. And it's quite awkward, you kind of have to look up, you have to kind of get yourself together with some new techniques, and then you have to relax into it. And then when you consume a length plank torpedo, then we take your fins off. And then we put somebody the other side of you, so you've got to play torpedo both sides with no fins. And then after a while, you realise that if you take away those two people, and you take away the torpedo, and you put your fins on, the length is so easy. It's like incredibly easy. So then it's like a length and a half, or maybe 2 lengths is well within your reach. And when you can do 2 lengths easy, then we start again. Break your concentration, give you a torpedo. And although you're quite confident with 2 lengths, give you a torpedo, you might come up at 1.5. And this is where the honesty comes in. You come up and go, whoa, that was harder than I expected. But I'm going to keep doing it. And then when you can do 2 lengths, playing torpedo with 2 people either side, with your fins off, when you get rid of all those distractions and all those annoying things that are kind of getting in the way of your swimming, you're much stronger as a freediver, and your 2 lengths is super, super easy with fins on, without the torpedo. So this is what we're doing with all our exercises. We try and break our habits, break our comfort zone, and push a step on. And I've been talking to the seniors quite a lot in the sessions, and you'll notice if you go to the sessions that we do this, that if a beginner, a newbie is completing an exercise, even though I've said stop, everybody stop, exercise finished, if a newbie is still swimming, we don't let a newbie be the last person into the water, because it's really quite upsetting, or not upsetting, but a little bit, I feel it's a bit disrespectful that they're swimming and they come up and like everybody's waiting for them, or they've missed the beginning of the next description. So we never let a newbie finish an exercise. Which means, when I've said stop, 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 if there's a newbie who's still swimming, one of the seniors will swim. Maybe 2 of them will swim. So that the newbie comes in, they look around and go, oh, at least I'm not the last. Okay? But that's just for the newbie. That's the newbie side of things. But the genius of it is, the seniors have finished their exercise. They're done. They've finished. They've put everything they can into that exercise. That's it. They're finished. Their body is like, now you can relax. No, you can do 2 more. You can do 2 more lengths. You tack it on the end, and that's where the training is. And that's how we break that routine. That you think you're finished, you've done everything, whatever the exercise is, you finished it. You take a nice deep breath, and then there's Marcus on the side saying, senior, you can still go. Oh yeah, I can still go. And that's the genius of it for the seniors. Of course, the guys in the middle, they're looking across and going, man, I want to be the person that one day Marcus goes, hey, you can go. You want to step up to that. You want to have that challenge. Okay? And that's how the 3 levels work. The newbies feel included. They don't miss the first line of the next exercise. And to be fair, if there's a red in the water and they miss the first few lines of the next exercise, they should be okay with that, because they should have done it a lot of times before. So the newbie's feeling comfortable that he's not the last one in. The mids, the blues are looking over and going, man, I didn't quite finish quick enough. I need to be quicker next time to jump on that extra bonus bit of exercise. And the seniors obviously are breaking their routine, which is fantastic. And that's how our exercises, that's how our group exercises manage to cover from beginner right through to senior, and everybody's getting exercise and trained. So at this point here, I want to delve into our idea of personal worst. So it's in a similar sort of vein about getting comfortable. Now, if you look on websites, you'll see quite a few people on Instagram and Facebook, and they're putting out, hey, I've got a new personal best, and they show their computer with their personal best on it, or they start to challenge themselves with a personal best. And in fact, the IADA and the SSI and the Apnea Academy, even to a certain point, their courses are based on you doing a dive to a certain depth, a dive of a certain distance, a dive of a certain time. And this is promoting the idea of a personal best. Well, what have you done? What's your personal best? And this has really, really detrimental effects on progression. Now, again, if you're a world champion or you're going for a world record, then that's different because you've reached the pinnacle of human possibilities. So progression after that is, maybe not quite as pertinent to everybody else who's trying to get better. Okay, everybody else is just one step on their evolution, and so personal bests have a massive detrimental effect on your progression, because if you've done your personal best, you're instantly saying you can't do any better, you can't do any more. Another dreadful thing I hear people say is, tonight I'm going to do a maximum. What's that telling yourself? You're literally telling yourself that I can't do any more. I'm going to do tonight the very limit. I cannot do any more than that. So what are you going to do next week? You can't do any more. You've done a maximum. You might as well quit. Okay? So the really detrimental language that you used there, personal best and maximums. So what we want to look for is personal worst. What can you do today, now? You've had a hard day at work or a hard day watching Netflix. What is your personal worst? What can you do just at a drop of a hat? And this will stand you in good stead. If you can hold your breath for, say, 4 minutes, and that's your personal best, and you did that in perfect situations, in a beautiful pool with a nice wetsuit and somebody holding you, somebody you really trust, your best mate, your best buddy, and you did 4 minutes. Okay, that's really, really good. That's a personal best. That's good. But that won't help you when you're in the sea and there's a wreck beneath you and you're holding the buoy and you're moving around. Because your thought will be, well, I can do 4 minutes in perfect conditions. I can do 4 minutes when I'm not cold. I can do 4 minutes when the buoy is not moving around like this. There's lots and lots of things which can step in the way of that. Much better would be to have a personal worst. The time, the depth, the distance you can do any day of the week. So you're sitting on the buoy and you go, wow, I can do 2 minutes any day of the week. I can do 2 minutes anytime I like. With having a hard day at work, I can still do 2 minutes. After a bad night's sleep, I can do 2 minutes. And then when you're sitting on a buoy and it's a little bit wavy, you're like, yeah, and the wreck's down there, the dive's going to take, a minute and a half, whatever. I can do 2 minutes any day. So you're instantly setting up a really positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude. PMI. And I would like you, for one of your pieces of homework, to have just a little bit of a look into that. PMI, positive mental attitude. PMI? PMA, positive mental attitude. Who came up with that? One of my heroes came up with that, and if I can find it, I'll put a picture up tomorrow behind me of my hero, one of my heroes who came up with that positive mental attitude. Whether he came up with it, I don't know, but he definitely made it a little bit more famous, brought it into the public consciousness. But anyway, back to the point. Personal worst, that's what you want. You want a personal worst. What can you do any day? And then it's not so number orientated. It's not, I went, 2 minutes, 2 minutes-ish, a little bit over 2 minutes, 2.5-ish, okay, as opposed to, I've done 4:03. Anybody who quotes you their seconds to the second, they're not confident about it. Anybody who quotes their depth to half a meter, people say, they say, they're not confident with it. They're not confident with it. Okay, because a second, like especially in a training zone, a second could be your buddy just not pressing the stop in time, or pressing it a bit early. A second is easy, like to kind of get slightly wrong. You might not have gone down quite on time. Or depth. I've seen people actually quote to the like 0.2 of a meter. Okay, that there is 30 centimeters. Okay, so you imagine you get down to your bottom of your depth. Okay, they've quoted a depth that's that much deeper than here. Okay, and then I asked them, what hand did you hold the what hand did you have a computer on? And they go, oh, I don't know, because they're quoting down this depth here, but you know, which hand did they have the computer on? That's a big margin of error. But you don't get that with personal worsts. It's 30 meters ish. Which hand did you have the computer on? Don't know, didn't matter. It was about 30 meters ish. 29, 31, don't care. Because it's the distance between my hands, 2 meters ish. Right. So really, really want to push that personal worst. What can you do any day of the week? And I'd like to put a shout out to Braden, who came up with this beautiful way of describing depth. Because sometimes you really do have to state a depth, especially if you're just going to put a rope down and somebody says, hey, how deep you diving? And he said, more 20 than 25. Okay, so it gives a nice window, but it also gives a specific kind of depth so people know what kind of depth you're working at. More 20 than 25. So thanks to Braden. I know you're down under at the moment. So maybe you'll watch this tomorrow, or will you watch it today but later? Anyway, whatever. Okay, so I've already given you a little bit of homework, and we're going to finish a little bit early today because there's a clap out for NHS workers today. So apparently you're leaning out the windows at 8 o'clock and everybody's giving a round of applause. I don't know if I'm not saying you want to do it or not, because Kiri is working real hard for the NHS. I know how hard she's working, and she's telling me about people who are working harder than her. So I think it'll be a really nice thing to do. So at 8 o'clock, people are out the windows giving a round of applause, a clap out for NHS. Awesome. So we'll finish a little bit early. I'll try and finish a little bit early for that. So I've promised I'm going to go through the lazy tables, and they are super easy. Super easy. Okay. Working on the idea of honesty, working on the idea of unstressed breath hold, okay, and how we can break our monotony, and working on personal worst. So, lazy tables, super easy. Hold your breath. Just blow the candles and hold your breath. And where you feel stressed, stop the stopwatch, start breathing. That's your baseline for your lazy tables, okay? Just where tension comes in, bam. That's it. That's your baseline, okay? What you do then, you set a countdown timer to 15 seconds more than that. So you set countdown timer to 15 seconds more than your baseline. Next day, same thing. 3 counter blows, deep breath in, countdown timer. And at some point you'll get stressed. Probably the same point you got stressed the day before. You look at the countdown timer and it says 15 seconds. Everybody can hold on for 15 seconds. That's easy. So you hold on for 15 seconds. You're not stressing. You're just holding on for another 15 seconds. Beep, 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 beep. It goes off. Fine. Job done. Next day, exactly the same thing again. You look down. Oh, 10 seconds. Everybody can hold on for 10 seconds because you weren't really stressed. So you can hold for another 10 seconds. Beep, 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 it goes off. After you do this 3 or 4 days, I guarantee you're sitting there, eyes closed, beep, 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 and it'll go off. So what's happened? What it is your unstressed breath hold, your personal worst is whatever that baseline is. That's what your body knows you do. So all you're doing is you're stepping it up a little bit, and you keep doing it. You keep doing it. All you're doing is you're telling your subconscious, hey, when Marcus holds his breath, he holds his breath not for this long, but for this long. 15 seconds more. And the body responds by going, oh yeah, well I can do that. Because I've done it 3 times. I've seen, you looked at the clock and you've seen it, and you know you can do it. It's only 10 seconds more, so you did it. So you're teaching your body you can do that. That every time Marcus holds his breath, he holds his breath for this time. Job done. All you do is step it up another 15 seconds. Lo and behold, 4 days later, you'll hit that one. And you keep going. Now, I did say that you've got to break your monotony, which means this won't work infinitum. After a while, your subconscious, your body will get used to what you're doing, and it'll start to take like 5 or 6, 7 or 8 times to try to get to that. Comes in with honesty. Don't just push and hold and I can do this one until the beeper goes. Nope, that's not honest. You go, okay, I didn't do it today, because that's failure. But then you go, oh, I didn't do it today. Beep, 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 beep. Oh I'm super close. Setting yourself a challenge. Okay, so this is a lazy tables. I can write. I've got them written down. I can send them out to you. Not a problem at all. Okay, and so I want you to do lazy tables again tonight. Okay, but with you set a baseline and then step it up a little bit. Start thinking about personal worst, and I want you to write down. I'm not going to get you to put it in the comments. I understand you don't want to do that. Maybe you can do your personal worst. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and look at it and go, "That's my personal worst. I could do that anytime." If Marcus said, "Hey, hold your breath," you could do it. Okay, personal worst. Write it down on a piece of paper. Okay. I've also given you that little bit of extra bonus homework, positive mental attitude, PMA, who made it popular. And if it's somebody really weird and out there, then it's probably not the person I'm thinking of. And I'll give you a hint tomorrow by putting them on there, a picture of them on the sideboard tomorrow. But the real theoretical homework I want you to do is to start looking into CBT, okay? So cognitive behavioral therapy, okay? Yeah, I'm not really worried about the therapy side of things, but people introduce visualisations with this and neurological programming. And we include this with NoTanx, especially the candle blows. There's 5 reasons. One of them is neurological programming and putting conditional hooks in. Okay, so I've just given you loads of keywords to look up. So CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, conditional hooks, okay, and the other one I just said. You'll have to rewind and see what I said. Conditional hooks and whatever I said. And so they put visualizations into it. Now you'll see that ties in very nicely with the other sessions we've done. We had visualizations. We had a visualization session on the first day. Then we had some. I got you to look into meditation and whether you like internal, external. And now I've given you some lazy tables to do, which is going to give you the opportunity to practice internal, external visualizations. Maybe a little bit of meditation in there. And on top of that, we're looking at CBT. Okay, so that's the homework for you today. Another lazy table, trying to include visualizations and a little bit of meditation in there. Look up CBT, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30. And by my clock, it's about 7:59. So it gives you 1 minute to wrap this up and go out and give a round of applause to the NHS. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place.